So the needle goes into my ear through my eardrum.
Kev, we can't scare people off of this treatment because it's an important treatment.
I am literally asking an audiologist right now, and I am mortified by the result.
Welcome to the Ask an Audiologist podcast, real audiology white papers written by real audiologists and explained to you by a real audiologist and a guy who isn't. Now, here are your hosts, Dr. Allie Tressiter and Kevin Ziener.
Welcome back to another episode of Ask an Audiologist. I'm Kevin Ziener.
I'm Dr. Allie Tressiter.
Today's article was written by Dr. Meg Kalady of Kalady Audiology in Beaufort, South Carolina, and it focuses on sudden deafness or hearing loss. Dun, dun, dun. I don't have any sound effect on here, but believe if I had a sound effect on it. I have applause. I don't have anything like, this is the only ominous thing, and it's not going to read well. Sudden deafness. It's bad.
That's not ominous at all.
Okay, here's the only other thing that I have on here. Sudden deafness.
Okay, it sounds magical,
yeah.
Right? And some people could think that sudden hearing loss is some sort of magic.
Okay.
I mean,
so here's how I'll rephrase it. Today's article focuses on sudden deafness.
Nice. That's the vibe we're going for.
Okay. Obviously, it would have been better if it was more terrifying. I don't know. Hold on. Let me just play one more. Hold on. Sudden deafness.
I don't know which vibe I like the best, like the magic or the weird bird chirping. Or...
You know who hates this right now? Dr. Meg. We've taken her article and we've bastardized it already. Sorry, Dr. Meg. We're sorry about that. Okay, so Dr. Allie, it does sound extremely ominous, and it does sound extremely scary and intimidating. So please try to tamp down our fear by telling us not to be scared of sudden hearing loss, sudden deafness.
Well, let me tamp down your fear by telling you should be fearful. Are you going to play a sound?
I was going to play a sound.
I knew it. I knew it.
You should be scared.
I could tell by your face.
That's it. No more sound effects. I'm turning the levels down.
All right, we're done. No, so sudden hearing loss is something to be concerned about. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to talk about the sudden hearing loss that we really see the most in clinics. And that's just somebody, they woke up in the morning and all of a sudden they couldn't hear out of one of their ears. Or it was just very quiet.
Genuinely terrifying. Like
genuinely terrifying.
You're sitting here telling that to me and I think to myself, that could be me. Like that reality could someday just hit me.
But let me help ease your fear now by saying, so if that happens to you, if all of a sudden you feel like, and it usually happens in one ear.
Okay.
If you feel like all of a sudden you can't hear out of one ear or it's really muffled, immediately go to the ER.
Okay.
Or if you already have a previously existing relationship with an audiologist or ENT, call them because when it comes to a sudden hearing loss, which a lot of times they're caused by viruses or things like that, there's no direct thing that we can pinpoint. But when it comes to these sudden hearing losses, the sooner you get treatment, the better. So the research shows that you really want treatment within 72 hours, and the treatment is going to be steroids. So it's usually a steroid injection through the tympanic membrane or the eardrum.
Are you telling me that they put a needle into my head?
You make it sound so dramatic.
Well, is there a needle that involves my head?
Yes.
Okay. Can't wait.
But
this nightmare keeps getting worse.
But when you seek the treatment, the chance of your hearing coming back either to normal or near normal is a lot better the sooner you do that.
Got it.
So a lot of times, though, sudden hearing loss is not something that gets a lot of focus in any of the medical specialties just because it is incredibly rare.
I was going to say, like, it clearly is an outlier. I've never come across anybody who one day woke up and couldn't hear. I think the first time I was even aware of that was in that movie, The Sound of Metal, where he's a musician. He's been a hardcore rock and roll musician. And then one day he does it. He wakes up and the world's just muted to him.
I've never seen that movie.
It's very good. It was nominated for an Academy Award.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's, but like even then, and I'd worked in the audiology space for a while. I thought
Yeah.
like that has to be the biggest outlier of outliers.
Well, for sure. And in that case, my guess is in the movie, it made it seem like it was the exposure to noise.
Sure.
Right. And so what I will say, exposure to noise, if you went to sleep after being exposed to noise and could hear, the chance that you're going to wake up with sudden hearing loss because of that noise exposure is extremely minimal.
Got it.
Right. Like if you're going to have sudden hearing loss from a really loud noise, usually you're going to feel it right away.
Okay.
And so
I was going to say, is there something, so like, because this feels very ominous, as I mentioned, like somehow that it's the dark arts involved. Is there something like, well, all these people who had, sudden hearing loss saw a grizzly bear cross the road at 4 p.m.
maybe.
Okay. But is there anything like something internally, like a noise, a sound, a pop, a pull, anything?
I mean, what I'm referring to, like the just waking up and you have a sudden hearing loss, typically no.
Wow.
It could have been something viral. A lot of times it's something viral that either you were aware of, like some sort of flu, or something that you didn't even know you had, and this is kind of an underlying thing that happened as a result. And so really, I'm stressing to everybody, this is like one of my soapboxes that I get on. If you have or perceive to have a sudden hearing loss, go to the emergency room. And I don't care if it were me, I don't care how crazy I sound. I would say, I need to get my hearing tested. So refer me.
Yeah.
And I need steroid treatment.
Got it.
I mean, that really, if it is a sudden hearing loss, you need treatment as quickly as possible.
Got it.
So ideally, if you can get in touch with an ENT or an otolaryngologist right away, that's the best route.
So I'm back on the needle in the head thing. Is that I can't take pills, like they go direct to the source?
No, so I have seen people treated both ways.
Okay.
One with a transtympanic injection, and then one with like a prednisone over 5 days.
Point on your head where the needle goes.
Do you know where your ear is located?
Well, I do know where my ear is, but like, does it go above it? Does it go in the middle of my ear?
Well, so you're going straight to the eardrum, right? And so you're going to go.
Oh my gosh, it got worse.
Into the.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
really okay, but it's a small price to pay to hopefully recover some of that hearing.
So the needle goes into my ear through my eardrum.
Kev, we can't scare people off of this treatment because it's an important treatment.
I am literally asking an audiologist right now, and I am mortified by the result. That doesn't mean that I wouldn't want to do it, and that certainly doesn't mean that I'm telling anybody that they shouldn't do that. If you have sudden deafness, sudden hearing loss, first thing you do, go to the ER. Second thing you do, demand a hearing exam and steroids. The third thing is batten down the freaking hatches because a needle is going deep into your ear, and I just want to be able to process the how, when, why, where of it all.
That's a lot. That's a
So
lot
how
to
far
unpack.
into my eardrum does it go?
I don't know that you can handle that.
It goes further? It goes
Well, it
further?
has to go through the eardrum.
How far away, how big is my eardrum? How long is my eardrum?
Your eardrum
Yeah.
is very thin. Okay, when you say how big is my eardrum, you mean like
So it's just the
like a
protectant layer from the eardrum, the skin of the eardrum.
well, the eardrum is essentially just a few small layers of skin.
Okay, so then we go through that.
Correct.
Then do we keep going?
Yes.
How much further do we keep going?
It depends on your anatomy.
So typically a normal human being would have, what, another inch?
Maybe.
2 inches.
I don't listen.
It's
Kev,
7 inches. I know that's what she
It's-
wants to say. She wants to say it's alarmingly long because the needle itself is 3 feet.
Yeah. Well, if the whole goal is to have it come out the other
Got
side.
it. Yeah.
So
What they do is they just jab it all the way through. They squeeze it out, and it's a total placebo because it
Yeah.
can't be cured.
I mean, it's kind of like a little lobotomy.
Oh
right?
my gosh.
It is not. So anybody listening, it is not. And also,
Here's the takeaway. Don't involve yourselves with sudden hearing loss. Avoid it at all costs.
yes, avoid it at all costs. But if it happens,
Yeah.
don't panic. Just seek treatment right away, and don't be worried about sounding dramatic. Like my sister, this ironically enough, a couple weeks ago, messaged me and said, "Oh my God, I woke up and I feel like I have hearing loss in one ear." Now it turns out She didn't.
Well, okay.
It was just a perception. She probably had
Just had a cockroach in there.
something. Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't cause, I mean, that's a whole nother story.
I like that your first thing is don't freak out. Anybody who's listening to this who doesn't work in the audiology field, who now wakes up and they can't hear, they will skip all the first three things and think like, I now have to go get a needle inserted into my head.
Okay.
Freak out.
Let's back. So I am talking.
I'm so sorry, Meg. You deserved better, but I got stuck on this and now I'm tunneling.
Yeah, I don't know if we can bring this back, but
you can. I have faith.
So I'm talking specifically sudden hearing loss. Now, keep in mind that there are other things that can cause, like my sister had, cause a perception of a sudden hearing loss, which is why it's important to seek treatment. But don't be afraid of feeling like, if they find out it was just you had a lot of wax in your ear or something like that. Don't be embarrassed about it because you want to, if it really is a sudden hearing loss that was viral, you do want to seek treatment. But know that often it can be these other things, like you've got really bad allergies. Yeah. Like I've got bad allergies right now, and my ears, when we were driving in the mountains, they are still plugged. And so I perceive a hearing loss, but I know it's because of these pressure changes and my allergies. But I mean, there can be all sorts of things. It's just one of those things that you're better safe than sorry.
Got it. So when it comes to sudden hearing loss,
I thought you said we were done.
I know, but it's funny to recall it. Make sure you go to the emergency room. Make sure you receive immediate treatment. Don't be terrified. Dr. Allie says it's totally normal for a long needle to go into your head. That's the takeaway from today.
Kev.
Does this help anybody? Is this helping anybody else calm their anxiety? Okay, the next best thing to do is maybe go get a second opinion if you think that your initial doctor might be a quack. The 59th best thing to do is listen to anything that happens on this podcast.
I am going to agree to disagree on that one, Kev.
I'm just choosing to go get a 13th opinion that doesn't involve a needle.
Okay.
But if you have any questions about this or any other questions about audiology, go to askanaudiologist.com. Dr. Meg, I'm so sorry. I completely hijacked this episode because of fear and terror.
I was waiting for you to have that sound again.
Dr. Allie, thank you so much.
I knew. Thanks, Kev.
See you guys next week.
You can find more information at askanaudiologist.com, and you can follow us on all our social channels at Ask an Audiologist. The information provided on this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only, and does not substitute for professional medical advice.
You're telling me right now that this battery doesn't exist, can't do anything until I peel the label off of it, and now this thing's alive, doing its job.
I mean, alive feels like a stretch.